mind or with the mind. Do you think that this manasa is different from other instrumentals? Any thought on this?
Manasa.
Now you have in the Dhammapada manasa chepaduttena vasati va karoti va. So I think in that case, usually we translate it, if someone speaks or acts with a defiled mind. So in that case, it's kind of, it's a karana or something. It's difficult, to me, it's difficult to take it as an adverb here, manasa. But when we translate it, that's the big danger always. So we should not confuse the function of the word in Pali with the function of the word that we are using in order to translate the Pali. If someone translates this sentence in Pali, manasapi no atichari, if someone translates, she did not transgress even mentally, in my opinion, this translation is correct. The idea is correct. The problem is that mentally, it's just a way of translating manasa. It's not a literal translation. It has the same meaning, but manasa means with the mind. So the literal translation would be she did not transgress even with the mind. That in English, it sounds better in English if we say mentally. So because of English, we say mentally. And mentally in English is an adverb. But manasa in Pali is not an adverb. That would be my point of view. So I would disagree in this case. As you know, there are many cases in this book where we can disagree or agree. It's just a matter of point of view, I guess. We can argue in favor or against. My approach is that I always try to simplify as much as possible, to have as few categories as possible. So if we have just 3 types of instrumental, is better than having 4 or 5 types. Yeah. If we can put everything in just 3 different types. And to me, this one would be just karana. Tatya karana, that's it, with the mind. But okay, we can take it as, maybe it's an adverb, mentally, fine. Then some adverb, sometimes in accordance with, atte panayati nyayena. He settles the case legally. Again, nyayena, in English, we translate it legally. In English, that's a good translation. But again, I would argue that one could just translate nyayena, literally, with the law. So we could say he settles the cases with the law or by the law. By the law. And nyaya means law or rule, something like this, what is legal. So again, in English, it's an adverb. In Pali, it doesn't necessarily need to be an adverb, but surely in English we translate it as an adverb. It sounds better. Like dhammena, like in the next one, dhammena boge pariyasami. Dhammena, when we translate in English, if you see, for instance, even if you see Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations, I think he also translates dhammena as righteously. But literally means with the Dhamma. That's the literal meaning. So by using the Dhamma, by following the Dhamma, by the Dhamma, with the Dhamma. So how is that different than attehi ubehi, attehi udakam omasitva? Not essentially, I don't think it's essentially different. Anyway, next one is the instrumental of time. For instance, diggena aduna, imina diggena aduna, through or during all this long period. Yeah. It expresses time. It can be duration or time when. Tena kopana samayena, that's a typical one. Tena samayena bhagava or ayasmana gito bhagavato pattako. At that time, etc. This is an instrumental of time. Instrumental of place. Vanena vanam, ganena ganam, papati. It gallops, that's a horse. Through the forest to forest and ticket to ticket. Yena bhagavate nupasankami. Yena something, tena something. So this yena is an instrumental of place. It's equivalent to yatra. And after this part, this is not for exam because this is just the instrumental. Sometimes it goes with certain adverb or nipatas. For instance, anyatra means except or alam, enough, with, or vina means without. These all go with the instrumental, as you know. Then there are some idiomatic uses or usages of the instrumental. If you have kim plus instrumental, it means what about or what's the point or something like this. Kim panatena mundakena samanakena diktena. Sorry. So what is the good of seeing that shoveling of a recluse? That's a very old translation. But you see the kim plus instrumental. That means what is the point of what is good about? Why should one? Similarly, atto plus instrumental. That means being in need of something. So yavatakena atto, in need of whatever, yavatakena. Karaniyam plus instrumental. Besajjena karaniyam hati. When there is a disease, there is need for medicine. So literally, something should be done by means of medicine. Here, besajjena, if we are strict, if we look closely, it's karana. It's a normal karana. And the verb is in the passive. It's a passive future participle. Besajjena karaniyam. And then also there are some phrases like sabbena sabbam, anyen anyam. These are phrases that are used with the instrumental and accusative. Then sometimes you find a comparative instrumental, although the normal case for the comparison is the ablative, as you know, but sometimes you find sentences like this. Ata kincharahi devante putujjanena nanakaranam. Then, sir, where is your distinction or your difference? That means nanakaranam. What is the dana? From the common man. So here we have putujjanena nanakaranam. It's the difference from a normal person. So what is the difference between you and a normal person? Or what is the difference, let's say, between an arahant and a normal person, or between a monk and a normal person? Usually we would expect putujjana or putujjanasma or putujjanamha. But in this case, we have putujjanena nanak. Yeah? Similar with ko visesukwa dipayo kim nanakaranam panditasya valena. So again, instead of seeing the difference between one and the other, or one from the other, here we have what's the difference between the wise person and the foolish person. Panditasa of the pandit with regard to the bala, with regard to the foolish person. In this case, we could call this a comparative instrumental. And another use that is very common is when we have to express the fullness or emptiness of something. So something is full. In English, we say it's full of water. But in Pali, we don't say it's full of water. We say it's full with water. Or we say the plate is full of rice. In Pali, we say the plate is full with rice. So we will, or we say the plate is empty of rice. In Pali, we'll say the plate is empty with rice. But basically, it is without rice. And okay, the instrumental of comparison, that's similar to what we have seen. Na tena seyo. Tena seyo, this is very clear that is a comparison. Usually, we should expect tasma seyo, but here we have tena seyo, sariso vichati. And finally, we have the instrumental of agent. This one doesn't deserve much comment because it's very typical. Botago tamena, neka pariyayena tammo pakasito. So here, actually, we have two instrumentals. Botago tamena, that's the agent, that's the kata. And aneka pariyayena, that is an instrumental. This one, I would say, this also we could take it as adverb. So in many ways, but you can take it as a means and this one as an agent. Botamena, neka pariyayena, tammo pakasito. The Dhamma has been taught in many ways by the Gautama sir, the Venerable Gautama. See that actually here we translate Venerable for Bota, although the word Bo is not exactly Bante, it's a little bit less. So people who are not followers of the Buddha, they call him Bo Gautama. But people who are followers of the Buddha, they call him venerable, Bante or Bhagavan or something. Not Bhavan. Bhavan means just Mr. also. So Bhota Gautama means by Mr. Gautama in general. So it doesn't have this extra. It is agent of the infinitive. So these are all forms of the instrumental as agent. Anyakena also bhikkhuna sabrahmacharisu sagala vena bhavitabam. So the meaning of this is clear, but the analysis is a little bit complex. So bhavitabam, bhavitabam is the future passive participle of bhavati. That means to be. So it should be been. It should be. We cannot translate literally. If we say karaniyam, means it should be done. But bhavitabam or katabam means it should be done. Bhaditabam or battabam means it should be said. Dattabam means it should be seen. But bhavitabam means it should be been. And that doesn't make any sense. We cannot say it should be been. Yeah, we cannot translate it, but literally that's what it means, right? Bhavitabam, it should be been by the bhikkhu. So when we have something like instrumental plus one future passive participle, for instance, bhikkhuna, we don't say. Well, we could say it should be done by the bhikkhu. But in the case of should be, because should be been means basically should be. So we don't need to complicate it. Yeah. And bhavitabam is very common, so we have to be careful with that because we will always find the subject. Again, this is the problem. When the verb is to be, is this really an agent? Is there an action? To be, is it an action? Or is it's a state, bhava? Or it's just an impersonal construction, but the point is that this is the subject here, bhikkhuna. The one who is the bhikkhu. And that's it, that's what counts. Hetukatta, the subject of a causative clause, the one who causes someone to do. This also can be the instrumental. And yeah, and that's it. So then we'll go to the dative. So these are the main usages. We have gone very quickly, but we already had the notes. And now I think we could take a break. If there are no questions, we could take a break and then read a little bit of Brahmajala. How about that? Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
Are the others here? Because I don't see any face, so I don't know if I'm talking to. So I'm sorry about that, but yeah, good. So let's take a 10-minute break. 10 minutes break, and then we will read for half an hour or so. Yeah, and that will be enough for today. See you in a bit. Bye bye.